Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross from PTCGRadio, and this is another game I recorded with my TDK deck. Now, this is not the first game I've put up with this, but as I'm trying to flick around and give a lot of different decks, I think it makes sense. Now, the first thing you'll notice here is it says my opponent has an advantage over me. I don't exactly know what that means or how it's worked out. I mean, I know what it means, but I don't know how it's worked out. But it always gets my goat up a little bit. It makes me feel like I have to try just a little bit harder. Now, this was an exceptionally good game that I recorded earlier today, so I do encourage you to stay and watch the whole thing. It is a doozy. So, bad news, I'm playing VirGen Genesect. I'm going second. Good news, they have a terrible turn one. Bad news, so do I. So I figure I'll just play Hypnotoxic Laser. And, I mean, he falls asleep, but he's going to get a Virizion soon, so that's not going to do much. I'm then thinking what can I actually do. I have a Plasma Energy, but I have no coloured energy. So, first things first, let's Skylar. And I'm going to look through, and I'm looking for my Plasma Ball, because I like my hand. I'll Juniper it next turn when I've used everything. So I can get a Team Plasma Ball, and that allows me to search for a Pokemon without discarding anything. And right now I'm pretty darn glad that I am playing one of them. So I get a Kyurem, thinking it's not the end of the world, I'll be able to get some coloured energy next turn. So I pop it down, I pop a Plasma Energy on it, and my opponent's Genesect stays asleep. And then it goes to her turn, and she attaches another energy. I say she, the avatar looks female, it could be a he, I don't really know. And still has nothing. So now I'm thinking this is looking pretty good. I've got an N, but I don't want to play it. They're clearly drawing a little bit dead. So what's the point in wasting resources earlier than I need to? I can just pop a Muscle Band down onto my Kyurem and play Scramble Switch to get him into the active. And then I can Juniper to draw a lovely little new lot of cards. But unfortunately, no coloured energy again. So as much as my opponent has had a bad start with no supporters for 2 turns, I have not had a good start because I've seen no coloured energy. Not good at all. Now, I'm not going to play the second Muscle Band because Virizion Genesect is likely to be playing Tool Scrapper because both Virizion and Genesect have abilities. So for that reason, I'm not really going to want to play too many Muscle Bands because my opponent is going to be playing Surprising Megaphone, or as we see there, Tool Scrapper. So what's the point? He also attaches a Plasma Energy and uses the ability Red Signal to bring my Deoxys active. Of course he does. He knows that Kyurem is starting to pose a threat, so he wants to bring it active. He wants to get it out the active. And then he can hopefully get a free KO on me if I can't get out the active. And he's played the Virizion there to get rid of the poison. Now, of course, I've got an Escape Rope in hand, so that's not going to be a problem. I'm going to bench a Thunderous, and I'm going to flick around, and I'm going to go for my Kyurem here. Now, Thunderous could work, Kyurem could work, but Kyurem gets the spread damage, and the only difference really is that I'm playing 2 Lightning, which won't work for Kyurem. But I somehow managed to miss them all. That is 3 turns in a row. Oh, sorry, I haven't played a Sporty yet, have I? Yes, I have. So I'm managing to miss them all. It's a little bit frustrating. I've got the Chorus Machine, but I have no energy. So once again, I have no coloured energy. So I'll play a Laser, and I can still play a Bicycle, and I hit a Lightning Energy, meaning I should have gone for Thunderous. The correct play was to go for the Kyurem. He was the better attacker at the point. And statistically, I was likely to draw a coloured energy. But it didn't work, and I've now managed to go 3 entire turns without managing to get an energy attachment. That's far from ideal. But these things happen, it's not the end of the world. My opponent is not having a fast start either, so although I haven't been able to capitalise on the fast start, I'm certainly, had my opponent had a fast start, this game could be almost over by now. So he gets a Mr. Mime on the bench, and all of a sudden that makes Kyurem a significantly worse card, because now it's doing the same amount of damage as Kyurem, but it's not attaching energies from the discard pile, and of course Virizion has a water resistance. So now I just plain don't want that Kyurem active. He gets the energy switch, the energy of course knocking off the poison damage that was incredibly slowly accruing from the laser, and now he's going to be able to do his Emerald Slash. Frustrating, what can you do? Now I finally hit a Prism Energy, a little bit too late, but gosh darn it, better late than never. I am and are overplaying the Genesect, but I'm going to want probably a third Deoxys on my bench, or maybe another attacker. The Genesect, I need my attachments now. I need my attachments from coloured energies. I don't think I'm going to be able to give up a turn to Plasma Energy with the Genesect, so I'm not even going to bother benching it. Now I can attack with Kyurem here. With his resistance it's not great, but I'll still be doing 50 because I've got the Muscle Band and the 2 Deoxys. Far from ideal, but there we go. Now I could bench the Thunderous, but I don't know if I want that down. I could play the Laser to waste it, but I don't know if there's going to be an opportunity later in the game where he has a Pokemon with no energy on that I'm going to be able to Laser, because Virizion won't be knocking it off with its ability. So I conserve my resources a little bit. And my opponent now is in full steam. 2 Genesects on the bench, 1 with 3 energy, 1 with 2, a Virizion active with 2 energy, a second Virizion on the bench so that the ability carries on if I knock out the one with damage on, and then he even gets his first KO without having to muck around with that G-booster rubbish. He is, quite frankly, taking control. Now, I'm not too worried at this point. I can start getting some damage going with Thunderous, building up the energy on Kyurem. I am only playing 2 Kyurem, and 1's going down, but I think I only really need 1 Kyurem to get 1 or 2 knockouts. Deoxys will do some decent damage in this game. So although he's got Mr. Mime down, I put Kyurem active. He can put in a little bit of a shift here. I can put an energy on him. He's already got a Muscle Band, and now I've got a choice to make. I could play Lillisand and try and get a KO, try and build up a KO, or capture out something which doesn't have energy on, or even kill his Mr. Mime. But what's the point in killing his Mr. Mime? That's creating a 7-prize game for him. He doesn't seem particularly intent on putting down any other 1-prize attackers, so that's going to be essentially a wasted KO. I'm not killing an attacker, I'm not taking any damage away. So I'm just going to play a Colress to get myself a bunch of lovely cards. Now I do hit an escape rope here, and at this point I'm really just saving my Kyurem. I need to start getting some energy on the field with Thunderous, and I really just need to not lose that Kyurem. I don't think I'm going to need a third Kyurem, but what I am going to need is 1 big KO from the Kyurem. So I get to play a Colress Machine. I'm not going to get 4 energy on the Thunderous, let's just get rid of that straight away. I've already got a colourless energy on Kyurem, so I'll stick it on Deoxys. Maybe I'll be able to use his second attack, maybe I'll even be able to just put 2 energy on so I can escape rope into him and retreat him at a later date. Either way, it's nice to have that energy on there. And without the Genesect, which I got rid of previously, there's really no need for me to keep those Plasma Energies in my deck. So I'm now able to Rain Knuckle for a healthy 80 damage. It's not amazing, but it will do. It brings his Genesect into range that's going to get KO'd soon. And I can even recover a Plasma Energy here, or a Prism Energy, get it on my Kyurem to make sure that I've got that Frostbeer looming for late game. He doesn't appear to be playing lasers or anything like that. That means he's not going to get a KO on my Kyurem without using G-Booster. Unless, of course, he snipes for 20 damage, then pulls it active, then kills it without G-Booster. And that's unlikely. Speaking of G-Booster, here's a big attack for him. He's going to be able to get that G-Booster, KO my Thunderous, go up 3 prizes to 0, and let's not forget I've got the half-dead Deoxys on the bench, which he's going to be able to kill just by gussing it up with Red Signal. I am very much behind here. But the good news is, I don't need to burn that Kyurem yet. That Kyurem's got free energy on, it's looking good for late game, it has no damage on it, so we need to G-booster it to kill it. So I can put my Thunderous up and get the KO with Thunderous. Now here, I'm going to make a play which I'm, quite frankly, fairly pleased with. What I believe is a very good play. Now, there's no Pokemon to get there, but I can put Lightning Energy on the Thunderous, and I'm going to use Power Pad. Now, if you look back at my TDK deck breakdown, I generally said it's for Colress and Juniper and Lissandre. I use it to put back 2 ends so that I can then bicycle into the end. And what that does is put my opponent down to 3, but more than that, it leaves me with a deck full of ends. I'm clearly behind in this game. I'm clearly going to be losing this game unless I can really slow him down, so I need to be ending a lot, and using the power pad there for the 2 ends could potentially pay dividends. Now, because I've got a stacked Kyurem, I put the energy onto Deoxys. Like I say, I've now got 2 energy on that Deoxys. I can either attack or I can just use it to retreat later on. It's certainly not the end of the world. Now here I really wish I had another Kyurem on the bench. Building up another Kyurem really would be the optimal play here, and I suppose this is proof that I should be having 3 Kyurem. Unfortunately, he's able to red signal up my Deoxys and kill it without using G-Booster. That G-Booster is still in play potentially. Now the good news is he's then had to leave 4 energy on his Genesect. What that means is I can kill it with Deoxys if I can hit a Muscle Band. Because he's got 4 energy, that's 120 plus the 30 is 150. Muscle Band will get the KO here. So ideally here, now I'm going to have to play an end to end him to 1. I'll get 4 cards. I'm hoping that's going to be enough. Now, there's certain cards I'm going to save here. I'm going to save my Lason. That's probably going to come in handy. You'll notice there's been several opportunities where I could have played the Lason before now. I'm saving it. I want to save it for the absolute optimum opportunity. Now I'm umming and ahhing about getting rid of the end so that I've got some really big supporters for late game. In the end, I decided to keep just the ends and not the Juniper or Colress. My deck's getting low, and to be honest at this stage, I need my ends. That's really what's going to win me the game. So, having a look at it here, what I really need to do is, I'm playing the Verbank City Gym, just to really thin my deck a little bit, because when I'm heading to 4, I want to make sure that every card I draw is going to be golden. That Bicycle's going to come in handy. That Escape Rope could well come in handy, as could the Lassonde. Now, I need a 3rd Deoxys here, but he's killed 1 and 1 is prized, and he's immune to lasers. That means Kyurem is maxing out at 160 damage. Now, if I didn't have a Deoxys prized, I could have Ultra Balled for the Deoxys at past turn, got the KO with Kyurem, gone down to 2 prizes, end him to 1, and maybe the game could be going a little bit differently. But if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. I am retreating the Kyurem. I don't want to retreat the Kyurem. I don't want to get rid of free energy. But at the end of the day, that Kyurem is not getting the KO. It's far too fragile. If he hits it for 100, he can then snipe it with the 20 on the bench, or he can just attach a G-Booster. I suppose he can attach G-Booster and win whatever. But I've ended him to 1, and I can attach to the Kyurem. So at least it's not completely all downhill here. So at least he's got 1 energy on. And I bike for 2, and I miss the Muscle Band. I'm not getting the KO. Now, when you bear in mind he's got his Mr. Mime active, that's incredibly frustrating. So I've ended him to 1. He's got 1 turn now to basically have a free hit, try and get the win. Has he got the G-Booster or any way of getting it? No! He's got an N. How annoying is that? I end him to 1, he draws a Juniper. But you'll notice that I power padded 2 ends back into my deck, and I've got an N in my hand, so I can end them to 1 again. Far from ideal for him, pretty nice for me. Because essentially at this stage, my board is setting up nicely. He isn't going to hit the G-Booster. I believe it's still in his discard pile. He's looking for a Shadow Triad. So all he's going to be able to do is start spreading a bit of damage. Now that Kyurem is within range, so if he can hit a Plasma Energy to red signal, he's going to be able to kill my Kyurem next turn. I don't want that to happen, so what I'm going to be doing is ending him to 1. But I can also attach an energy to my Kyurem there, leaving it just 1 energy away from being attack ready, which is quite nice. Not only that, but with his 20 damage left on Genesect, I can actually get the KO with Thunderous. So I can retreat the Deoxys, and I know that's 5 energies I've killed retreating in 2 turns. But if you look at the way my board's shaping up, I don't need those Deoxys. There was a slight hitch there when I ran out of space, but I fixed it, don't worry about it. I'm going to be able to get the KO with Thunderous here, putting a 3rd energy on Kyurem, leaving Kyurem able to attack next turn, and leaving me with just 1 prize left to take. And I've again end them to 1. And that is lovely. Power padding in the 2 ends has been the thing that's given me a chance to win. Now, he's still got 1 card. Although, to be honest, he hasn't got a Genesect built up. So he's going to be struggling to kill my Kyurem pretty much regardless. So the VirGen goes active, and the question now is, has he drawn anything off the 2nd end to 1? And he pops a Pikachu active, which obviously means he hasn't, but he's trying to paralyse me, and he hits heads on paralysis. But of course I've got an escape rope and a Lysand in hand, so I can just escape rope up the Kyurem. I believe I thought it had 1 more on it than it did, but I've got 1 in hand, so I can still get that Kyurem going. I can escape rope to get the Kyurem active. I can even pop down that last Deoxys to add a bit of damage. I can then Lysand up the half-dead VirGen, which has no energy on, so I can even poison it, and then I can Blizzard Burn for the win. The most improbable of wins. I know my opponent had a slow start, but so did I, and I suppose this game really shows 2 things. It shows quite how comebackable TDK is, but also it shows that, you know, TDK really can go down with anything, and N really is as powerful as we thought. And it means I've taken down another person who apparently had the advantage on me, which is quite nice. As always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe and like it, leave a comment if you want to ask me anything, and check out the rest of my videos and my podcast, PTCG Radio. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.